Welcome into our latest Hear Me, See Me podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Bruner. Hear Me, See Me is a project of WIBW television raising awareness of mental health concerns and issues surrounding mental health. And I'll be honest, when I did the interview you're about to see, I wasn't planning on making it part of this podcast. I was just excited, let's be honest, to talk to rock star Melissa Etheridge, a native of Leavenworth, Kansas. She did a project recently where she went inside Topeka Correctional Facility and she spoke with some of the inmates there after exchanging letters and wanted to raise awareness and draw attention to what they're going through and their stories. And when I got to thinking about it, it truly is what Hear Me, See Me is all about. The National Alliance on Mental Illness shows anywhere from 45% to perhaps even 70% of people who are incarcerated in our country have mental health concerns. Many of those are diagnosed mental health conditions, whether it be depression, anxiety, or substance use disorders. When I was speaking with Melissa Etheridge, she talked about what these women were going through and about what she's learned from her own son's passing due to an opioid overdose. And when we thought about that, we thought about the point of this project, how she really wanted people to hear these women and see these women and talk about the lessons learned from that. Here's our conversation about her recent project that she did, a docu-series inside Topeka Correctional Facility, the new music that arose from that, and what the inspiration was for that project. What inspired that project?
Well, that's a lifetime of inspiration. I grew up in Leavenworth, and we have all the prisons there. The federal penitentiary was just a few blocks from my house. And in 1968, when I was 7 years old, Johnny Cash came and performed there. And I thought that prisons were a place of great music at the time or something. And then when I was a few years older, in my teens, I actually went into all of the prisons and performed different types of entertainment. And it was always so appreciated, and they were such a great audience and inspiring. And I always wanted to get back and do that again. And it took forever. Actually, in the 90s, I was working with Tammy Wynette to get it done, and then she passed away. And so I just had this desire to go back into a concert, and then it finally all fell together a few years ago. And it really took on a kind of a deeper meaning with my son's death, and now our work with the Etheridge Foundation. So it just became this really cool project that I'm so proud of. I really hope you watch it because it's good.
Going back to when you were growing up in Leavenworth and performing in the prison as a young woman and a teenager, did you have trepidation going into the prison? And once you were there, what did you learn that maybe changed or altered that attitude at all, or maybe reinforced what you thought you might find going in?
I went in when I was like 13 years old, very young, never had any trepidation, never felt anything. The one thing I do remember is going to the women's penitentiary and looking out, and this is the early 70s. And so there was some very rough women, let me say, who were there. And that was the first time I'd ever sort of, seen role playing and stuff in a female sort of sense. This is long before I came out, stuff like that. And so it didn't scare me. It was just like, I'd never seen that. And I felt very safe. We even worked with some of the prisoners sometimes, and it really impressed upon me that these are normal people that made bad choices, got caught up in bad situations, couldn't find ways out, but these are not horribly bad people that need to be locked up forever. That doesn't exist. Everybody can change. Everyone can make a different choice.
That's a message the public needs to hear. But as you went through this project, how much did you discover that maybe the women needed to hear that message as well?
Yeah, very much so. It can be very depressing having your freedoms taken away and living in a system like a prison system. It can be very depressing. And just the little amount of joy and hope that music was able to give them. If you watch the the film, you'll be able to see at the end, it's this amazing transformation. And it just, it it gives me hope about their hope.
When you watch even the previews that have been released, when you sing that song, I'm Not Broken, and the women join in singing that song, what was that experience like for you?
Amazing. I didn't know what the concert was going to be like. I had worked with the warden and the prison. We had talked about it for a couple of years. I kept saying, okay, are you going to allow them to get up and express themselves? Are they going to be made to sit down? No, no, no. We're going to let them do what they want to do. I was like, okay, because I can get an audience very excited. That's my job. And she was like, you go ahead, you do whatever you do. I'm like, okay. And I said, I'm using some colorful language in this song. Is that okay? I don't want, no, you do what you want to do. And they gave me this wonderful freedom to do what really came from my heart, unrestricted. And singing that song and just seeing the women just going, I'm not broken and I am worth it. And I still love doing it for free people, out here in concerts. And it it did better than I could have ever wished for there at TCF in the prison.
You had mentioned your son's passing. Do you see him in some of those women, and how much does that message need to be said for a lot of people? Because you can give somebody all the support in the world, but you can't necessarily change internally what's going on. And how much are you now motivated exactly to let people know that there are second chances, there are things that can get better?
Yes, I was very it was very clear to me that many, if not most, of the women in the prison were all dealing with early trauma in their life that led to some really bad choices, drug addiction, and prison. It's just this constant, it's all the same, different ways, but trauma, drug addiction. And knowing how once you get in that cycle of drug addiction, it is very hard to, people can't save you. I know as a family member, you can't, you want to do whatever you can, but you can't. It's a personal choice. And that person needs to see what it looks like to find joy in life every day. And if I can show that this is possible, you can feel this. No matter what life brings you, you are in charge of your own joy. That's what I got from my son's passing and his experience, and then seeing these women, is we need to start understanding joy more and how important it is in our lives.
Where do you find joy now? All these years in the industry, where do you find joy?
I still find great joy in my music and performing and concerts. And I immense joy in that. I find unspeakable joy in my family, my three children, my wife. I'm so blessed there. I find joy in the people that I work with and I'm surrounded with. I find joy in strangers. I find joy in the earth and the sky. And yeah, I got a lot of joy.
I would say so. How important is Kansas to your message? Because you could have done this documentary anywhere. Why did you choose to come home, so to speak? Because, Topeka and Leavenworth are a few miles apart, but why did you choose to come home to Kansas to do this?
Because it's home. Because Kansas has a funny place in the world. I always think of it as the middle. It's just the middle. It was always the middle. Even my father was a Republican and my mother was a Democrat. We've always just been in the middle. We were on, and so I like that. I like that I can highlight a place where good people, are trying to make a difference in the world, or just trying to help the people in the prison, the the people, the administration working in the prison, the women in the prison, the people around. You just see that I have a great love for Kansas. We get a funny rap, and they only think of Dorothy. It's like we've come a long way since the Wizard of Oz, and I just want to bring more enlightenment like that to Kansas. I think I think it's a very special place.
We have had a lot of tornadoes this year.
You know,
It happens.
yes, I've seen a few myself when I was growing up, so that's part of the deal there.
This new music was written obviously with the prison in mind and with these ladies in mind. How does the message, though, transcend that specific story? What do you hope? And I know that the experience of music is what we individually can interpret things as, but what do you hope people get out of hearing these newest songs that you have?
I've really been enjoying performing the song "Burning Woman," which is the song I wrote for the women in the penitentiary, and I love playing it live. I tell people about the concert and the album and the documentary, and then I sing the song, and by the end of it, everybody knows it, and they're call and response, and it's really translates not only from the prison to the all audiences, and I very much have been enjoying it.
Kansas being in the middle, I think a lot of younger Kansans might think, yeah, middle of nowhere. What does your story teach other youngsters who maybe have that dream of being on a world and global stage one day?
It's 100% possible. It does not matter where you come from. And Kansas is a great place to be from. It really is. And I have met some amazing people out in the world from Kansas. And I've met some great people in Kansas. It doesn't mean you have to get out of Kansas. Kansas has many opportunities, and you just be inspired wherever you are. If you're in a small town in Kansas, you look around and find the inspiration there, and then just follow the path, follow your dream.
You can catch that docu-series on Paramount Plus, and of course, her new music, I'm Not Broken, recorded live at Topeka Correctional Facility. Find it wherever you find your music. And any mental health resources that you would like to find, you can check out WIBW.com/HearMeSeeMe. As illustrated by this project, we hear you, we see you. Thanks for joining us.